Hi, I'm Mark Kwame, Chairman of the Board of USWebCKS. I've been asked to take you through what our generic capabilities presentation is. But before I get started, really what I'm going to show you today is generic. It should be customized for whomever you happen to be presenting to. I've been fortunate enough to present it to 10 or 12 clients already, and we've been able to see how it can work very well. Really what we're trying to do in these capabilities presentations is three things. First of all, prove to the client that we have experience, we know what we're doing, and we've done it in a lot of these areas before, e-commerce, advertising, whatever it happens to be. Second is we understand their business and their business problems. Third, we have the resources that we can use and the case studies experience that we've done to solve those business problems. And that, really fourth, we want to be your partner going forward. So let me go through the presentation. I'll go through it slide by side and really kind of talk about how I present it, and then we'll take it from there. So starting out, of course, we obviously would want to customize this for the client. It's very good to have an overview of who we are, a couple relevant case studies. I know we're producing a lot of case studies in the company right now, but really make sure that they're relevant to your target customer, that you understand your client's business needs, talk about our process. Clients today are very interested in your process. These things are moving very, very fast, and if you don't have a specific methodology and process for going after their problems, it makes them nervous. And then last, you want to close the sale and make the big deal. So I think this is really the most important slide, and if you will, in what the company is all about. And the fact that we see fundamental change happening in the marketplace, in how we communicate and how we conduct commerce. And we really believe there are two things happening where e-commerce is forcing us to bring the marketing capability, the ability to communicate who you are and what you are and establish a brand, with the technology, because the technology is what's bringing the data, if you will, out of these legacy applications. So really in this world of constant change, we have at USWebCKS created a professional services firm that really helps define the strategies, that is the client strategies on how to go to market, and innovative ways to build the business. At the end of the day, we're here to help our clients build their businesses credibly and profitably by combining the benefits of this internet technology and marketing communications. And we'll talk about that more specifically in a second. So what are the things that are affecting this change? Many clients are under multiple different pressure, time pressure and other things. But they're facing things like shrinking product life cycles, channel conflict, lower cost structures. People are being bombarded on how I can do this more efficiently. Product commoditization, and I could never pronounce that word. New competitors, as well as new businesses being created. So there's all this stuff happening. And one of the things you may want to do is customize this slide to particular change factors that are happening for the client that you are talking to. Then this slide really is just to say, hey, we're big, we have the capabilities to service our clients' needs. One of the things I would caution you on this slide is the fact that if you are talking to a small company, a startup company, make sure that you really focus on the fact that, hey, yeah, although we are big, we have an office in Washington, D.C., or in Silicon Valley, or San Francisco, or Portland, or whatever. It's going to focus on your business like a small company. So you get both the aspects of a small company and the resources of a large company to service your client's business. But talk about the fact that we are servicing 44 of the Fortune 100. We now have close to 2,100 professionals. We are becoming worldwide with a great presence in Europe and soon in Latin America and in Asia. $300 million annualized revenue, and of course a publicly traded company, so they can get more information on their through the internet. Really, what we've done is when we look at servicing our clients, we've broken our services into four key areas. First is in differentiation. And differentiation is really helping clients establish their brand, establish their identity, who they are out there, in order to get people to come to their site and really see how they are different from the competition. And those really fall into multiple areas. One is advertising, integrated marketing and branding, which is everything from creating collateral materials, packaging, corporate identity, of course designing the whole user experience for the internet. And one thing that I've been using pretty successfully is that We do a lot of e-commerce work, but we also understand traditional commerce. So we've actually designed environmental and retail establishments, from the American Girl in Chicago to many of the Hallmark stores, the Apple store within the store. So we really understand what happens in retail as well as online, and that's very important. So we understand how to help clients differentiate their products and services. Second is that we can really improve their customer relationships through e-commerce, really getting to know the customer and then creating customer knowledge databases that helps them to figure out what their share of customer is, not necessarily what their share of market is, and then help them build these audiences. And this is really where the core of the online expertise is, if you will, and the technology marketing part of our expertise. Thirdly is our whole ability to really leverage the people assets, if you will, inside of the company. And that really, this is the intranet practice, if you will. Everything from knowledge management to employee training, discussion systems, distance learning, those sorts of things. And we really have a lot of capability in building these intranets. Obviously, I think we have one of the best intranets out there with USWebCKS Central. And last but not least is the technology functions. Really, how do you optimize their businesses through, legacy systems integration, systems architecture, network architecture, and you have to have a fundamental understanding of these things in order to provide world-class websites, world-class e-commerce sites, knowledge management systems, and so on and so forth. And I must tell you, when you just talk to someone in the elevator, if you will, and you talk about all the things you do, they get confused. But when you show it in this context, so far I've had a lot of success in using this chart. So I'd strongly suggest that each one of you use this chart in your presentations. And then, of course, the clients. We work with a wide variety of clients and a wide variety of assignments. And again, I would make this slide relevant to your target customer. I was just at a presentation with a large retail company in the Midwest, and we customized this to who we thought they would be impressed with and would want us to have experience with. But I would encourage you to talk to Chris Taylor in the marketing department to make sure that you have the right case studies and you understand what we've done for each one of these clients. And if you're going to put these up here, really know 2 or 3 sentences of what we've done for them. Levi's, for instance, e-commerce. Harley Davidson will go through a little bit more in detail, but extranet systems and supply chain systems, and Apple basically full integrated communications, and Audi all the advertising, and so on. Really get to learn each one of these. I mean, quite frankly, I do not know specifically what we've done for Warner Brothers, for example, and that's one. When I give this presentation, I make sure that there are people in the room that know what every one of these clients, what we've done for them, because just putting up client wallpaper doesn't make a whole bunch of sense. And then this is the most important part of the presentation, is that whether it's about internet, whether it's about other parts of their business, you need to make sure that you understand their business. Spend time on their websites, read their annual reports, talk to their customers, and really figure out how the internet can impact their business. What can the internet experience, what has been their experience to date, and interview or spend some time on the phone with the clients prior to going into the presentation. And of course, doing some evaluation of the competitors. The last thing you want to do is just go in there and just talk about us. You want to talk about them and let them talk about them and talk about their experiences. And then really, as this says, really customize this towards whomever the specific client is. And quite frankly, this could be 5 slides, 10 slides, probably not more than 15 slides, but really talk about what their business is all about. And then, really talk about how, we would like to work together. I think we don't, there's a lot of times where we don't actually close the sale, if you will. Really define particular opportunities that we can do for them. Define objectives and success metrics. One of the issues that on the internet is you can do anything. Anything can be done. And so if you don't really clearly define the objectives and the success metrics for the site, you can have a real issue. Talk about the fact that we're bringing people from all different disciplines in the company, as well as locations. Large clients like to hear that. Again, I was with this large client in the Midwest. I had somebody from Silicon Valley, someone from San Francisco, someone from D.C., someone from Boston, and so on and so forth. And really talks about the fact that we can bring the best talent from around the company and put it on your business. And the fact, really leverage our knowledge management. If you have an internet connection, I strongly suggest you actually show some of the knowledge management, the intranet, and get very familiar with that, especially the CKS people who have not spent a lot of time on the knowledge management system. Really get to know it because it's a great selling tool. And talk about the fact that we really want to deliver measurable results. We're not about pure pretty pictures or pure technology. What we're about is how do we move your business and give tangible suggestions on how they can make their business better. So you take a look at that and you say, hey, we also have deep expertise by business sector. And I mainly only show this slide if that business sector, if it's an entertainment company or financial services company or technology company. By the way, we have changed this graphic. There was a typo in it, high technology. It now just says technology. Retail and so on. If your specific office has deep experience in one of these sectors, maybe you could also modify this slide. But it also tells about that, we're not trying to be all things to all people. We are focused in business sectors as well. This is pretty obvious, the fact that we can put together a team that really serves your needs. We can focus on specific sectors that focus on their specific industries, and we have practices, whether it's an e-commerce practice or an advertising and branding practice, that can help them get their project done. One of the things that in the business development function that I'd strongly suggest all of you in the business development areas is we tend to sell, if you will, or pitch what we're comfortable with. So if we're an advertising person, we sell advertising. If we're an e-commerce person, we're comfortable selling e-commerce. Get to know some of these other things. Get to know the fact that we got some killer AS400 integration capability, or we've got an amazing variety of e-commerce technologies out of our DC office, for example, or branding out of our San Francisco office. Whatever it happens to be, get to know some of those other areas and get familiar with those practices so that you can, maybe not talk about them in depth, but really kind of give a highlight for what they're about. This is the knowledge management system, USWebCKS Central. And one of the things I have found, for instance, especially if I'm talking about a specific technology or an e-commerce system, I'll actually go on this and just type in e-commerce in retail using NT technology, for example, and boom, all the sites that we have done are there, and it gives the client some more comfort that you've done a lot of this stuff, because a lot of these guys have been stung. A lot of these people are not doing their site for the first time. It's their second time or the third time, and they don't want to work with Joe's 20-person shop or 30-person shop. What they want to do is make sure you have the scale and scope and experience to solve their problems. We have lots of strategic alliances. For instance, we're a very large partner of Microsoft's and a very, very close relationship with them, and hopefully in the near future even closer on multiple different levels. Intel's an investor in the company. We work a lot with Reuters and Sun, Cisco and Hewlett-Packard, and many others. And again, we have other alliances. So if you think that another alliance would be important to your target customer that you're pitching to, again, I'd call Chris Taylor in the marketing department to see what the new alliances are and see how that could be impactful for the pitch that you're giving. This is pretty obvious here, the USWebCKS advantage, but we've done it before, we've been there, done that, and we can really both do a complete solution, which we prefer to do, but also we can do point solutions in order to help us or help our client to get to know us and get to know our capabilities. And we have a proven methodology and approach that goes back to what I was talking about before. Is these folks have done it before, and usually if they're talking about something with us, they don't. They've had a negative experience. So you need to really talk about the positive things, and then of course how do we begin? What can we do? So after this, we have some case studies. Again, these case studies probably should be put somewhere else in the presentation, if you will. But there's two ones that have been done. That are actually two or three. I think there's some more on the website as well. But Harley-Davidson is a great technology-oriented, business solution-oriented website or case study. And this is, how do we improve dealer relations and dramatically reduce costs? Well, Harley-Davidson came to us and we created a complete extranet the hdnet.com, if you will, for their whole dealer base. So basically now we were able to significantly improve efficiency and reduce cost of how they service their dealers. In the past, what they had to do was, if someone brought their bike in, they did not know if the owner they had in their database brought the bike in or somebody else brought the bike in. They'd bring the bike in, they'd say, okay, you need this part and that part. They'd put out the paperwork and send it off to Harley-Davidson in order to get the warranty claims, the money back for the warranty claims. Well, 9 times out of 10, it was wrong. It took 6-7 weeks to close. It was just a mess. Now what they do is someone drives in their bike, the dealer types in the vehicle VIN number, and immediately it populates the screen with who owns the bike, what year is the bike, all that information. So the dealer right there can say, is this you, or did you buy the bike from this person? Is this your bike? What parts you need? And it's cut down the process significantly to where now the warranty claims process is now done in single-digit days versus multiple weeks. And so we were able to very quickly put together. The first thing we did, by the way, there is really understand what the business problem is and then applied technology to it. In addition, what we were able to do is create a very scalable architecture that allows them to do this very efficiently. In fact, a big chunk of this, my understanding is everything on the left side of the Bay Networks ASN is all, or after the T1, I should say, on the left side of the T1 is all hosted at USWebCKS through the e-services group. So we actually have a lot of the infrastructure inside our company. And this is one thing that also I'd strongly suggest all of you get familiar with is our e-services offering. I just recently sold about $100,000 e-services project, and it's very easy to do. If you actually combine e-services with the whole professional services, it's a very easy sell. In fact, Bob Wise, I believe, is going on a roadshow next week to explain to a lot of the offices and to the folks out in the business and press community what we're doing there. But it's very, very exciting, and I'd strongly suggest all of you to get very closely involved with it and understand it. So we built this architecture. It's a full AS400 integration system. It's pretty amazing, and quite frankly, if you're getting into in-depth technology, this actually brings me to the next point. I am finding that in the pitches, you should have a strong marketing / business strategy person and a strong technology person in the meeting, because 9 times out of 10, both the chief marketing officer or the marketing representative and the IS representative are in the meeting, and us marketing people have a tendency to talk about things that we don't quite understand completely and can promise things that can't be done. So really make sure you have a technology person there that can really answer the in-depth questions. It gives you instant credibility as well. That you really do understand the technology and they're not just a marketing agency or vice versa. Make sure you have a strong marketing person there talking to the marketing people if it's primarily a technology pitch. So we added significant business value, reimbursement time cut from 12 weeks to 4 weeks. I was talking to Toby, now it's even done in days. Increased dealer and customer satisfaction, cost claim reduced by 90% and saved them a ton of money. And that's the other key thing. This is actually a cost-saving component, and this is where our intranet and extranet business is very, very impactful. The next one is Levi's. What happens when you take a world-famous brand that's losing market share and bring them on the net? And Levi's came to us a little over a year ago and said, hey, we've got to get on the net. Our target audience is 18 to 24-year-olds. They're on the net, and we got to start selling our products. So really create a comprehensive e-commerce website in time for the '98 holiday season. And actually it launched in November, and it's been a big success. I'd strongly suggest you go up and take the site. Take a look at the site. One of the issues here was also is how do you create a great branded presence for Levi's and a great e-commerce presence? And so what we've been able to do is really create an immersive shopping experience using a lot of collaborative filtering to help the product selection. So once you go into one area, let's say you want Levi's XYZ jeans. They have tons of jean types. It will actually recommend like products that are similar to that specific jean type as far as shirts and other things. But this is really a fully immersive experience, shows their whole line of products, and really is also a good case study on how this whole concept of disintermediation, if you will, where manufacturers are needing to more and more go direct to their consumers so they can actually show their full line of products. So what we're able to do is, dramatically increase site visits. We were able to significantly increase revenue per visit. This is an example of increasing revenue versus decreasing costs, if you will. And really, we're able to get a lot of customer profile information that we can then remarket to in the future, and significantly increase their online brand recognition. We did a very large media campaign launching this whole site that was very successful. So again, this is just a generic presentation. I know Toby yesterday sent out an email of a presentation that was given over the web for First USA. I strongly suggest you take a look at that. But I think if you really keep to those core aspects I mentioned in the beginning, one is talk to them about us, the fact that we've got the experience, we've got the client base in order to really solve their problems. Two, talk about their problems and opportunities, and really understand their business, if you will, and get into that in depth. That should always be the meat of the presentation. Third, suggest some solutions, whether they're creative solutions or technology solutions, on how to solve their problem. And four, don't forget to ask for the order. So with that, I'll wrap it up. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to call myself or Ian Small or Toby or Kurt Garby or the other folks in the business development group. And we hope that this is one of many training tapes as we start to develop this presentation more and more. I'm sure you'll see something like this come out in the next 3 or 4 months. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Toby Corey, President and Chief Operating Officer of USWebCKS. I know that you've seen a prior tape of Mark Kwame giving a similar presentation. We wanted the opportunity basically to begin to share with you the vision of the company and how we present the company to our clients. What I'd like to do today is walk you through a fairly long version of the presentation. I would highly recommend that you customize it based on your particular client's needs and your presentation style. First, before we get into the presentation, I think at the core of any successful client presentation is really the essence of being able to communicate security and reliability and trust. At the end of the day, the client is looking for a trusted partner, and our ability to communicate who we are and what we do conveys the security and the type of emotions that we're trying to deliver in any sales client presentation. And at the core of it all, we're here to make our clients successful. We're here to solve their problems, to meet their business objectives, and essentially make heroes of our clients. So what I'd like to do is break the presentation down into 2 components. The first part really being a description and encapsulation of who we are and what we do. I generally try and get through this part of the presentation as quickly as I can, however, not going too fast and glossing over some of the important slides of the presentation, but again, to give the client a good understanding of who we are, what we do. And really, the second part of the presentation is where the real meat of the presentation comes in. And I focus my time really on very relevant client case studies. So we've got a very wide swath of these client case studies today to demonstrate to you. Again, I would highly recommend that you customize it based on the particular and unique opportunity that you are pursuing at the time. One of the other tips that I would give you is on the USWebCKS Central site, there's actually a very detailed and comprehensive executive briefing form. This really goes into a fair amount of detail to try and really ascertain what is it that the client's trying to accomplish, what are the needs that they have, and again, the more upfront preparation work that you can do, the more targeted you can deliver the presentation to them. So with that, I will go through the presentation and give you pointers along the way. And I've had the opportunity now for the last 3 years to do well over 100 executive briefings. And certainly in the last 60 days or so, I've given roughly 24 presentations closely around what we have here. This is a continuously evolving presentation. It will continue to evolve. My expectation is that we'll probably try and get update tapes out at least whether it's once a month or once every quarter to try and keep you apprised of the recent developments and the best way to present the company to our clients. One of the difficulties certainly in starting out is that the company does have a very diverse and broad range of skills and capabilities, all the way from the most creative work that we do, all the way down to the most technical work and network implementation work that we do. So I certainly can understand and sympathize with you all of the difficulty and uniqueness of the company. I will also note that the presentation and the capabilities of the client is there is no benchmark for this. This is a company that has never been built before, where we really are bringing together technology and creative skills to deliver a very compelling value proposition to our clients. So with that, let me jump into the presentation. Typically what I like to do is really focus on some of the macro issues that are surrounding or impacting the industry today. What I try and do is really go and make sure that I've got my facts and figures in my mind as I begin to deliver those, again, those relevant points to the client. Some of the things that I typically use are, I start out talking about the impact of the Internet and the adoption rate of the Internet. DataQuest recently put out a study whereby 50% of all the United States homes today have a PC in them. And of those 50% of homes that have PCs, 25% of all the homes also now have Internet connectivity and access the Internet at least twice a week. So today there are over 125 million people connected to this new commerce and communication medium. I try and put that into a broad perspective. If you look at the adoption of the print medium, the radio medium, the broadcast medium, this medium is being adopted faster than any other prior medium, certainly in the history of mankind. At the heart of this enormous change is the impact that it's having on Global 2000 businesses. And really where I focus a lot of my discussion is around the core of it all, which is essentially that consumer buying behavior is changing. That is really at the heart of what is driving this enormous change and catalyst in the way businesses will be successful in the 21st century. Other examples that I give, certainly timely today, Q4 was really the exclamation mark of an acceptance of the Internet, and the history around, or the important points around this. If you look at Yahoo, Amazon, eBay, Broadcast.com, E-Trade, you look at the market caps of these companies, and most Fortune 500 or Fortune 1000 CEOs look and reflect upon this. It's hard not to see your market cap get eclipsed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10x by a company that's 3 or 4 or 5 years old. Being a Fortune 500 CEO of a company that may have been in existence 25, 50, or 100 years, they're starting to now stand up and take notice and recognize that something profound is happening here. I've also given relevant personal case study information. Last year I did 100% of all of my Christmas shopping online. I used to go to Barnes & Noble at least once a week. I'm a hack musician as well. I used to go to Tower Records once a week to buy my CDs. Today, I do all of my CD, all of my book shopping on Amazon.com. So again, as a consumer, that disposable Lincoln that used to go to Barnes & Noble and used to go to Tower Records, now today is captured by Amazon.com. That is the brand now that I gravitate to for purchases of that type. So I've also made very bold predictions in that if you look at the Fortune 500 list today, half of those companies on that list won't be there in less than 5 years' time. So this is the order of magnitude change that we're talking about. So anyway, I've given you a fairly long, lengthy story, but just trying to give you some color and some history of how to, really, I begin setting up a presentation as I come in and talk to a CEO or chief marketing officer or chief information officer. One other important point here is that typically what I've also found is that in most of the executive presentations that I give, half of the audience typically are marketing or business executives. The other half of the audience are typically technology executives. What we're finding in that typically a business will assign essentially a chief internet officer, so to speak. That person will create a virtual team that is chartered with basically helping to figure out what a particular business's internet strategy is. And at the heart of our value proposition, we are here to make our clients successful. That's what we do. Within that, getting into the first slide, again, talking about this change agent of consumer buying behavior changing, but essentially what we've brought together is the world-class technology and world-class marketing skills and capabilities. And at the heart of it all, the marketing communications work that we do essentially drives revenue and market share for our clients. The technology work and implementation work that we do essentially focuses on driving down costs. So really at the heart of it is increasing revenue, increasing market share, and reducing costs, thereby propelling a company into a leadership position. So let's dig down into this a little bit more. From there, once I've set that up, I focus on really the strengths of the company. Over 3,000 client engagements in the last 3 years, currently serving 46 of the Fortune 100 are our clients. Now today, 2,300 employees and growing, 30 consulting offices around the world, $300 million in annualized revenue, $100 million in cash. The core point of this slide here is you want to communicate security, reliability, safe choice, and again, very deep experience and expertise. Another point here you want to be careful of, especially dealing with even a large company, you want to make sure you don't lose the feeling of personalization in that we're not too big to overlook your needs. So very large company that's going to be around for many, many years. We're the safe choice, the company with the broadest and deepest experience to serve your particular needs. This next chart for me actually is the epicenter of the presentation. I think that it is the most strategic slide that begins to articulate the value that we deliver to our clients. The chart has two dimensions to it, differentiation and efficiency. And as I described earlier, focusing on differentiation, helping to drive more revenue, deliver more market share, efficiency, focusing on the profitability of the company, again, to push that company in a leadership position and put it in in a position to increase shareholder wealth. And walking through this chart, I think it's best to describe it by giving case study examples. This is really the heart of the strategy consulting work that we do for all of our clients. So again, let me walk you through a couple case examples in articulating what this actually means. This landscape is comprised of 4 quadrants: leading, risking, failing, and competing. And this landscape is constantly being pulled into that lower failing quadrant. So as new competitors come into the market space, as commoditization continues at a rapid rate, businesses need to focus on how they stay in a leadership position. The message here is that we try and work with our clients to tell them to focus on your core value, what you do best, and focus on outsourcing to experts in areas that can help you meet your business objectives. So let's take a case study example. If you look at the market for online brokerage services, in the leading category, I would clearly put E-Trade in that position. Why? They've done the best job of differentiating themselves in the marketplace. They've built the strongest brand awareness, and they've certainly invested heavy in building the E-Trade brand. On the efficiency side, they're also able to deliver that value in a very efficient, very cost-effective way in terms of the cost per transaction. With the internet architecture that they've deployed, they do that more costly and more efficiently than any other company in this particular space. So the two comprised has certainly put E-Trade in a very enviable and leadership position. In the risking category, I would place a Merrill Lynch. They have a great brand. Merrill Lynch is known around the world, very stellar reputation. However, they are very far behind in the adoption of the internet and using internet technologies to reduce the cost of delivering their value. So thereby being in a risking category, risking that market position, that brand awareness that they have today, risking falling into the failing category. And in the competing category, there are a number of companies: Charles Schwab, DLJ Direct, Ameritrade. These companies actually have a very efficient delivery mechanism of their value proposition in the way that they've utilized technology. But again, they do not have the brand awareness, and they have not been able to capture the imagination of the marketplace like an E-Trade was able to do. So what we focus on is working with our clients to help them in differentiating themselves in the marketplace through world-class marketing communication services, as well as the delivery of their value proposition in the most efficient way possible. And you literally could take any business and map it to this chart. Package delivery services, FedEx in the leading category, the United States Postal Service in the risking category, DHL in the failing category, and UPS in the competing category. So again, take whatever relevant case study based on the particular client that you're serving, and this is a very, very meaningful, very, very powerful chart. One other illustrative example I'll give you on the efficiency line, which we've actually used here internally at USWebCKS Corporation. About a year ago, we recently changed healthcare providers. And the process for doing that work would be, at the time we had about 750 employees, 26 consulting offices around the world. The way that we would have executed that business process was put several HR administrators on a plane to sit down with all the employees. Of course, while they're sitting there, they're unbillable, and then give them pamphlets and brochures on the HMO and the PPO and the medical and dental program. They would have to actually fill those forms out, mail them into our HR administrative office. We, of course, then would have to have some administrator keystroke that into some database, get it off into the provider's hands, and begin to be able to deliver benefits programs. We had a 20-minute phone call with our HR VP, built an intranet application to facilitate this business process. It literally was able to be filled out within 30 minutes by every employee at the company. We ran an ROI cost on this, and the cost to do it, hard dollars, not soft dollars, was just over $2 million. We were able to execute this program for about $150,000. That's what we talk about when we talk about efficiency. Now, the core point being here, those are real dollars. So as a president and chief operating officer of the company, those dollars could actually go to the bottom line, improving earnings per share and increasing your stock price. Or more importantly, I would rather use those dollars in more strategic areas. I'd rather take those dollars and use them in professional development programs and recruiting programs. Again, you can start to see the power of this as you see how we can quickly move faster and leapfrog our competition by being able to spend those dollars in more strategic areas that have more benefit for the company. And parenthetically, we have 2 people in our benefits administration program that run a 2,300-person company. So again, there's some very, very good, powerful examples here. What I've tried to describe to you is the landscape and, again, how to position this to your clients. And this chart has resonated very deeply with all the clients that I've had the opportunity to share that with. So I've given you a lengthy version of it, but again, hopefully you have an idea of the essence and the power of this particular chart. From there, really going into change factor. And again, I really focus on the core point here of the buying behavior is changing, and the internet provides a very frictionless and high-speed velocity communication and commerce medium to facilitate this. The point being that every aspect of a business is being impacted by the internet. New businesses are being created, new channels of distribution, on and on from different economies, channel conflict, and every CEO and vice president of a business unit are grappling with these issues as new competitors are coming online with more efficient mechanisms and leveraging the internet, as well as very strong and significant investments in brand differentiation. These are some of the issues that are certainly causing change and causing CEOs to really start to say, God, I've got to start to really focus on my internet strategy here. The USWebCKS advantage, again, this slide's fairly self-explanatory, but again, the ability to deliver complete solutions, a proven methodology and approach, proven track record and client success, and again, produce results. All the client engagements that we typically work on have a very heavy ROI. We're not successful if the client isn't successful. So again, we're here to solve their problems, we're here to impact their business, and that's the core value proposition of our firm. As I've just described to you, the differentiation and, of course, the efficiency spectrum with which we help our clients be successful, you can break that down further into essentially we deliver value in 4 solution areas. Differentiation of products and services. Essentially, this is the art of how does a client build a brand, generate brand awareness, and build essentially a habitual brand, one that clients and their target audience will gravitate to over the competition. As we all know, brands are built of emotions. They stand for a promise and a value proposition. We help our clients differentiate themselves from their competitors in the marketplace through not only internet sites, but advertising, integrated marketing and branding programs. And although you've heard me talk quite extensively about the profound impact of the internet, we certainly believe that traditional marketing is a core element to our value proposition going forward. I certainly think as a marketing executive looks at how they build their brand, how they differentiate themselves, the use of cross-media will be absolutely strategic and important as they differentiate themselves in the marketplace. And the change factor here is that we see that being orchestrated through several multimedia. The internet will be an integral part of any company's differentiation in the marketplace, but of course that will be orchestrated and leveraged through traditional media, advertising, radio, broadcast, and the full-blown complement of integrated marketing services is strategic to our business going forward. Second area, again, which impacts how we can help our clients increase market share and increase revenue is in the area of customer relationships. This is an area that is dramatically being impacted by the internet. And what we're finding is through this term that you may have heard called disintermediation. I think the more appropriate term is really reintermediation, but how a client develops a relationship with its customers is changing. Why? Because the value change is changing dramatically. Whereas in the past 100 years, you had basically a manufacturer who had distributors, who had retailers, and the final product or service eventually got into the consumer's hands. The internet changes all of that. What we're finding now, certainly through the actual promise of one-to-one customer relationship programs and really using the internet as a strategic weapon to build much stronger client relationships. An example that I think is very relevant in this area, certainly I think, is what Amazon.com has done in their client relationship area. And essentially what they've done is some of the programs that they run where they actually bring the writer of a book online to actually converse with consumers who've read that book. So again, in the past that certainly has rarely happened, but in the internet it provides a medium to actually facilitate that, thereby strengthening Amazon.com's brand. Anyone that's been on that site knows they have the ability to actually read reviews that consumers have put in place themselves. You have the ability to write your own review. Very, very powerful, very strong customer relationship tactics and strategies that are building a very, very strong brand for Amazon. In the area of leveraging of people assets, these other two solution areas, again, really focus on how to deliver their value proposition more efficiently and more cost effectively. I certainly think that ideas are going to be the capital of the 21st century, and businesses in the past have done a very, very poor job of capturing the intellectual capital that they have in the firm and how to leverage that across their businesses for both competitive gain and efficiency. The construction of knowledge management systems, employee training programs, HR and information systems really facilitate that. We've done extensive work in this area. I'll cover that in the case study component of this presentation. Finally, improving business efficiency. This certainly is no different than how technology has been deployed in the last 25 years. The difference here being is that the internet provides a much more efficient platform for getting more ROI out of the technology dollars that you invest in. I talked about the USWebCKS case study of benefits automation. This speaks directly to the improvement of business process. Very, very deep technical and application development skills really apply in this area, from electronic services to network services, system architecture, legacy system integration, but basically building business applications that automate business process. And again, we've done hundreds of projects in this area. So to summarize this slide here, again, solution-oriented, being able to connect with a client in an area that obviously they have a need, and typically in one or many of these areas. We want to make sure that they clearly understand the value proposition in the solution-oriented way in terms of how we can help them succeed in their business and meet the particular needs of our clients. Again here, taking this a step further, not only do we have deep expertise in the four solution areas, but this is also applied to very, very deep sector or industry areas. And in the past 4 or 5 years, certainly in the internet area, just having internet experience was good enough. Well, as we begin to move into 21st century, as the internet moves from being tactical to strategic to our clients, it's not going to be good enough anymore that you just have very, very deep internet expertise. You're going to have to combine that with very, very deep industry and sector knowledge, experience, and expertise. And as this space continues to evolve, at the end of the day, this really is going to be our core differentiation over the next 4, 5, 10 years, the very, very deep industry expertise that we have as it applies to the factors that are important to our clients going forward. We talk about the work we've done in the entertainment, financial services, high technology, and retail. Again, I would caution you, make sure that you tailor this to the specific client needs. The next area that I focus on, and I typically do a demonstration of US Web Central. So wherever possible you want to have an internet connection, certainly you at least want to have T1, but it certainly can work over 28.8, but T1 is certainly preferable. But the demonstration of our knowledge management system. This is one of the key areas of differentiation for the company. I will tell you that no other professional services organization has the comprehensive knowledge management system that we've been able to develop here at USWebCKS. The reason this is so important is that essentially when I sit down with a client, I tell them that When you hire USWebCKS, you are hiring the experience and expertise of 2,300 employees today. And I demonstrate the power of how to leverage that knowledge across the company through the knowledge system that we've been able to build. It's a very compelling application, and it demonstrates how we can actually locate the appropriate expertise and experience in the firm to deliver the very best people and very best knowledge to meet a particular client's needs. At the core of it is a project registry, and here we capture all of the client engagements that we've been able to produce over the last 24 months. It's organized by practice, or you can do a search by a query by industry. If I want to see all the work we've done in the financial services area, for example, I could execute a search. It would bring up all the client work that we've done in that area, and you can specifically drill into any one of these client records and look at, okay, what was the problem, what was the solution that we delivered to the client, what was the ROI, how much did we charge the client, who worked on that particular project, and also what technology was deployed to actually deliver that solution for the client. So, for example, if you wanted to see all of the NT open market solutions that have been built, the project registry would pull all those records and query it based on that particular search. Also connected closely to the project registry is the skills profile. These are the two core areas. What we have done, of course, is had all of our professionals fill out a very comprehensive skills profile. Everything from what industry expertise they have to technical certifications to creative skills. If you're looking for someone that has built an extranet around an SAP, BON, or PeopleSoft ERP application, you can execute that query and have those professionals across the firm that have actually done work in that area. In addition to that, if you're looking for someone with very deep AS400 integration skills or someone that's done a particular branding type of program, again, be able to execute that query and find the expertise in the firm, locate that to leverage that for the particular engagement. So this is, again, a very, very important area, and again, is best illustrated in actually demonstrating it for the client. Moving on, this is an area where you certainly could literally spend hours on, but I typically like to at least give them a flavor for the type of methodology that we deploy in order to ensure success of a particular client engagement. It's comprised of essentially 4 core methodology steps. Within each one of these, of course, are specific deliverables. All of our engagements, of course, include the strategy phase, and that is really the determination, what are the objectives of this particular engagement? What are the problems that the client is trying to solve? And then going through, again, depending on the type of engagement, it could be a very comprehensive strategy phase where you're also looking at doing focus group, market research work, a very in-depth competitive analysis. What are their competitors doing in this space? But really focusing on doing the upfront work of the strategy of what is it that we're trying to accomplish here with this particular engagement. That is typically followed by a requirements phase, whether it's a marketing and corporate identification program or a technology, e-commerce engagement. What are the specific requirements? Think of this almost as if you're building a house, the requirements of a particular house. You don't want to just start building rooms and a garage. You want to have develop the right foundation with which to build the particular house that you're looking for. Again, in this area here, a very detailed requirements definition of what is it that we're building and how are we going to build that. That moves into the design phase once we understand what it is we want to accomplish, the actual design, again, whether it is the execution of a creative engagement or a technology-oriented engagement, the design from architecture to hardware configuration to the applications that will be built. But again, what is the design of the particular solution? And of course, in the 4th area, the actual construction and implementation of that solution. So again, there's many, many charts and much more deeper depth here, but I typically try and just want to let the message here to the client is that we have a proven methodology to ensure that we can deliver the results and expectations that we're setting for you. Next slide really focuses on clients. This is designed, again, to let the client know that we have very, very deep expertise, and we've done work for major clients out there. Again, the message that you want to convey here is one of experience, one of expertise, and essentially one of that, if these types of clients are working with us, the message being that we certainly will be able to meet your needs going forward. Again, I would highly recommend the more upfront intelligence work you can do with the client before you want to customize this and present this to brands and client engagements that are going to resonate to that particular audience. Okay, this is a new part of the presentation that we'll be emailing out to you, but what we've been working on at USWebCKS corporate headquarters essentially is the practice definition. This really is the instantiation of the 4 solution areas and then essentially the solutions around that and practices around that in terms of the actual solutions that we deliver to our clients. They fall into the following categories: strategy, e-commerce solutions, business systems, network solutions, knowledge management, internet communications, customer relationships, marketing communications, and electronic services. There'll be more coming out in the coming months in this area, but I wanted to, again, at least give you a flavor for how to present this to a client. And this, again, is in my mind, the most important part of the presentation, as it illustrates the actual work that we've done, essentially the meat behind the presentation. You've just told me what a great company you are, now actually demonstrate it and show it to me. So what I've done here, I've taken each one of those practice areas and inserted a relevant case study. Again, there are literally hundreds of very relevant case studies that we've done. You're going to want to customize this, again, based on the needs of your client. So I've taken kind of a broad view here, but let me walk you through some of those. In the strategy consulting area, I think one of the most impactful projects that we've done here has been for Levi's. Those that have been following Levi's is aware that they've been losing significant market share over the last decade. The brand was listless. Levi's understood they had a real problem and began to look at what happens when the product that you made world famous starts losing significant market share. Beginning to look at what is the internet, how is the internet going to impact their business? Well, USWebCKS came in and focused on the objective of creating a comprehensive e-commerce website, certainly to be delivered in time for the 1998 holiday season. So certainly looking at all the upfront strategy work that had been done here, looking at the demographic audience of who would purchase Levi's or Dockers, and tailoring a specific e-commerce solution and building the strategy around how to make this successful and how do you take essentially a brick and mortar business and transition that onto the internet. The strategy was to create an immersive shopping experience using collaborative filtering to help essentially in product selection. The point here being is that if you think about any retail operation, how much work goes into essentially the consumer experience. Everything from environmental design to the layout of the merchandise in the store. The investment that the consumer retail organization makes is incredible and is down to a very, very detailed degree. Well, the internet is no different for that. You're basically creating a consumer experience, everything from the speed of which the graphics load to, again, how do I make sure that I achieve the results that I'm looking for here in getting the consumer to actually make a purchase. Added business value, well, dramatic increase in site visits, greater revenue per visit, increased customer profile information, and very, very strong line brand recognition, essentially revitalizing a brand that had fallen on hard times and bringing that company to be internet aware, internet savvy, and creating a very, very rich immersive shopping experience. In the e-commerce area, there are several, again, very compelling case studies. This one I just had emailed out to you folks not too long ago, but essentially, again, a similar situation where we had Dick's Sporting Goods, which was a brick-and-mortar business, about a $1 billion company, which sold merchandise through a classic retail distribution channel. They're one of the largest sporting good retailers in the country. They wanted to channel customers from physical stores to the online world. Maintaining customer experience online and in stores was absolutely critical. In other words, what they wanted to do was make sure that they leveraged the brick-and-mortar business with this new instantiation of their business actually on the internet. We delivered a robust e-commerce platform which was integrated in with their existing systems. 90% of the e-commerce engagements that we do need to integrate with an existing order entry system, inventory system, or whatever it may be. We certainly don't rip and replace the current systems unless the ROI economics make sense. So again, looking at how we take that business online. We leveraged existing technology from brick and mortar stores, again, to speed the delivery time to market. Navigation was designed to be simple and enjoyable, and a rich duotone imagery and typography treatments leveraged to maintain consistency with existing visual marketing strategies. The rich idea here was that we went to CNN-SI and put together a very attractive audience development program in that this was an exclusive relationship whereby Dick's Sporting Goods was able to reduced the cost of advertising on CNNSI, and of course CNNSI was able to participate in the revenue sharing of selling merchandise online. And essentially the way that this system worked is that we were looking for a natural, transparent way if a consumer was on CNNSI reading about the Denver Broncos winning the recent Super Bowl, right from that content area, I could virtually go to the Dick's Sporting Goods site online and purchase a Denver Broncos t-shirt or football, whatever it may be, and have a very similar experience. So the look and feel was designed to leverage the content and look and feel of CNNSI, so it was a very seamless experience for the client in reading about the Denver Broncos and actually being able to purchase a jersey. And there will be other, essentially, design elements that are built in based on other audience development programs. So again, you're starting to see not only the one-to-one marketing relationship, but the seamlessness between purchasing content and also the actual purchasing experience. The entire product catalog enables upsell and cross-selling opportunities. Again, just like you would in a brick-and-mortar business, the tactics that were used to cross-sell merchandise in a retail store, similar strategies and programs are executed here online to cross-sell and upsell merchandise based on what they bought and essentially the product catalog information that the consumer actually saw. Another very similar example, Tower Records came to us with a very similar problem. Had started to see market erosion from companies like Amazon.com, CD Now. Essentially, we built an entire e-commerce system for them that leveraged their brick-and-mortar business to put their business online. And finally, another innovative solution, Furniture.com. This essentially was an electronic store with no real-world counterpart. USWebCKS provided not only the consulting, the design, and the development expertise to put this business online. Essentially, we turned the dreaded furniture shopping experience into one that was both fun and pleasurable. The company does not have to adhere to traditional geographic limitations placed on them by the existing distributor and brick-and-mortar business that they currently have in place. Here again, a consistent user experience, streamlined navigation, funnels users through the purchase process in a very natural and in a very compelling way. So they were able to actually create a much more favorable shopping experience online than you actually would do in walking into a particular store. We architected a complex and scalable back end that recommends related products and suggests upsell opportunities. So if I had bought, a particular couch or a chair, whatever it may be, the heuristics built into the site actually pull in relevant cross-selling opportunities based on prior consumer buying patterns. Moving into the business systems practice, this is where we've done some very, very compelling work that has delivered astounding results. One of our most notable client case studies is the work we've done for Harley-Davidson. Essentially, the objective was to improve the efficiencies of processing warranty claims. The old way of doing this was you drive your bike into a Harley dealership, the dealer comes out with a form and a pen and fills that out, puts it in an envelope, nails it to Harley's warranty office. That envelope arrives, it gets opened up, a keystroke administrator types all that information into an AS400 application. They get batched up every night, processed, and about 80% of these forms were filled out incorrectly. Sent back to the dealer. Again, it's about a 3-week process to get your warranty claim approved. Of course, Harley owners aren't happy about having to wait 3 weeks to process a warranty claim. The customer's not happy. Of course, the dealer isn't happy. And then you look at the cost structure around administering warranty claims processing. We had a real opportunity here to really impact their bottom line. Coming back to, again, that efficiency curve that I talked about earlier in the presentation. We built an extranet application that completely automated this business process. This today serves over 850 North American Harley dealerships. Over 95% of the Harley dealerships had a PC and had internet connectivity, so we were able to quickly build a solution that allowed them to get online immediately and begin reducing the process, the process of getting a warranty claim process approved. The way the system works today, drive your bike into a dealer, the dealer pulls up the site online, the first field they fill out is the VIN or the vehicle identification number. As soon as that's filled out, it goes out over the internet through the system, the application that we've built, and we have a dedicated T1 frame relay line right back into Harley's infrastructure. It goes down into their legacy environment and pulls out that DB2 record and populates the form. At that point, The dealer can say, are you still John Smith living at 132 Johnson Avenue? This is where half the errors were occurring because A, the bike was sold, or B, the original owner moved. The dealer right there could actually make the correction to the form, and it would update the record on the back-end legacy system. And as they began to process that record, the next field they would fill out is what's known as the primary warranty code. This could either be for brake, muffler, rotor, whatever it may be. Let's say it was a brake problem. They'd fill out the brake code. The system would ask, are you sure it's a brake problem? The dealer would verify that, and then from there, the system would only pull the subordinate codes that map to that primary code. So there was no way to transpose numbers or inadvertently put a wrong code in. So to net it out, we're processing warranty claims now today in less than 3 days, and we've reduced about $2 million a year out of Harley-Davidson's P&L, and they're processing warranty claims in a much more efficient way and delivering much higher client satisfaction. Again, another very strong example of automating business process. Warner Chappell came to us. They are the largest music content provider in the world. They have a very, very large licensing business, and this was, again, done through a form and fax-back system. We built what's known as a super site for them, whereby you can go to the public site and research Robert Plant or look for where Sean Colvin is touring, or if I am a Hollywood producer or a Broadway play producer, I want to license some music content from Warner Brothers, I actually go to this site and process that now online. So based on what I want to license, I can actually go and find a song or search by the artist. Let's say that I wanted to license Stand By Me by Benny King. I would execute that search, would pull the record up. There are over 150,000 real audio clips, so I could listen to a clip of the song. This is an Oracle back-end SQL database running the system that also ties into a legacy IBM environment. And from there, I could actually go through the entire licensing process. So how many minutes will the song be used in the credit or in the trailer? Once that licensing form has been completed, it can go into Warner Chappell's licensing department, and this is completely executed online. So we're able to dramatically reduce the time of processing licensing requests and certainly significantly reduce the cost of this for Warner Chappell. The third component was an administrative system that allowed them to actually have access to 3 legacy applications through one web browser, and again, it dramatically reduced the administrative costs of actually maintaining and keeping the system up to date. In the network solutions practice, we've done, again, several dozens and dozens of projects in this area. The one that I think most resonates with our value proposition is the work that we're currently doing for American Airlines. Essentially, again, thinking about putting a business online, not only does it have to communicate the value proposition in a very compelling way with a very rich design and corporate identity and all the branding and corporate identity and marketing communication work that has to be done, but the site also has to perform, it has to be reliable. Well, American Airlines is a very, very complex site and actually is running on 5 different redundant servers. And they were having very, very difficult time in response times. Their consumers were getting extremely upset because the site was taking an incredibly long time to execute reservations or whatever it may be. Our network solutions group came into the site and did a complete network analysis. This included very, very technical work from the directory structure of the system to how the disk was striped, to many, many latency issues. Where were the breakpoints? They deployed a broad vision system in architecture looking at how do we deliver the performance that this site was looking for. And we're currently still working for American Airlines on re-architecting that site so that the network that its current network that it's running on can deliver the performance and reliability that American Airlines is looking for to create the right, again, consumer experience. Moving into the knowledge management practice, the most compelling case study here, folks, is our own USWebCKS Central site, eating our own dog food, so to speak. But again, typically what I do is actually get into this system, having an internet connection, and demonstrating the knowledge management system, the project registry, the skills profile. Other very, very rich components of the system include a discussion system, where it allows any professional in real time to post a request, and any professional across the firm that has the answer to that can reply to that, and again, allowing us to leverage knowledge and expertise across the firm. Moving into the communications practice, Two case studies for you here. One of the more relevant projects that we've done was for Dell computers. And again, we were looking at impacting not only their efficiency line, but also how to increase sales. And in a telemarketing sales model, we're looking for a way to create a richer consumer experience by leveraging the internet. So how can we increase sales by leveraging the internet was the problem that Dell had. We wanted to increase communication with customers and prospects. We wanted to enhance the experience with Dell account executives and deliver a more robust information exchange, certainly in a more cost-effective interaction. We built the Dell Virtual AE, or Virtual Account Executive. It was a secure online presentation system, video-enabled presentation tool, advanced reporting features, and essentially any consumer that had an internet connection and a web browser, while they were talking on the phone with a Dell telemarketing representative, the Dell telemarketing executive would actually give them this URL or this internet site to go to, and while the Dell telemarketing executive was describing a particular system, that Dell executive could actually queue up a video that actually would demonstrate that system to the consumer. So you could actually look at it. Michael Dell would talk about the system, specifications, packaging, and actually be able to look at it to increase the consumer experience. The results, well, we delivered a more consistent and effective communication system with customers and prospects. We enhanced the experience with Dell account executives. It was certainly a more robust information exchange. We decreased travel expenses, specifically in the small business division. So one of the other areas we're trying to focus on is that typically in selling a number of Dell machines to a small business, instead of having to fly someone there to actually demonstrate the system, they actually could demonstrate that system through leveraging the internet. So we increased sales and reduced costs through this solution we built for Dell. Another compelling application was for the World Economic Forum. This is a body of over 2,000 world leaders that come together once a year in Davos, Switzerland. And what we wanted to do was be able to keep these world economic leaders, give them the ability to communicate not only once a year in Davos, but to do it 365 days a year. We built a very rich internet communication system that allows them to have real-time video conferences. So if the Prime Minister, the financial minister in Mexico is having a currency problem, he wants to tap the expertise of South African finance minister or UK finance minister. That entire interaction through a very rich multicast online video system we constructed for them for the World Economic Forum and continuously run for them today. In the customer relationship practice area, again, many projects in this area. One that I think is illustrative of our value proposition here was we built the Diners Club International extranet. And here again, what we were looking to do was to build a system that leveraged a customer relationship experience for the consumer, allowing them to look at their statement, allowing them to look at their points that they had accrued, actually purchase systems online. But again, the ability to really focus on a customer intimacy program. This was also set up as a personalized system, so as I log into it, it knows who I am and can bring out my statement, my relevant information. And now to the most exciting and funnest part of the presentation is the marketing communications practice. This is the opportunity for us to really show off the very high-end, creative, exciting, compelling work that we do. Again, reflecting back on that initial chart that I talked about and really how we help our clients differentiate themselves, how we help them create identity, and really capture the imagination of their particular market segment and client the prospect that they're going after. In the branding area, again, this slide really speaks for itself. The entire identity work for Excite, coming up with the name, the design of the logo, and a complete branding of Excite, which today is certainly one of the most recognized brands in the internet space. Go Network today, which I believe is the 4th or 5th largest portal according to a study of USA Today. Disney Corporation came to USWebCKS to say, help us build our identity, help us build our brand as we want to take and build a portal and bring that online. Pixar, eBay, again, companies that we've done complete corporate identity and branding work for. Moving into the advertising area, this is an area certainly that Don Moore has some very deep expertise. I would highly recommend anyone in the marketing communications practice to give Don a call. He's got very deep case study experience here. To net it all out, the bottom line is we were able to not only differentiate and revitalize the Audi brand, which had gone through a downturn. But I think the work we've done is really reflective in their sales, in their market share. The McKinney Silver Group out of Raleigh literally has done all the advertising work, broadcast TV work for the Audi brand. In the website work, some work for Hard Rock Cafe, Timberland Boots. Again, how do we take a established brand and bring that to life online? So again, we've done hundreds of projects in this area here as well. National Geographic, this is a company over 100 years old. How do we essentially take one of, I believe they're the third most recognized brand in the world. How do you take 100 years of content and put that online? They came to the USWebCKS group and said, build our brand online. And again, we've had a very, very successful client engagement here as well. Moving into the consumer area, the foods and beverage area, McDonald's Corporation, again, came to USWebCKS for innovation in the design area, certainly in the packaging area and the food and beverage area. United Airlines, Pebble Beach Golf Lines, again, doing some very high-end branding and differentiation work for some of the most respected brands in the world. I think probably the most compelling work that we've done that has had a dramatic impact on our client sales has been the work for Apple. Literally have gone into a company that was given up for dead. I believe in November, Apple had either the first, second, or third highest shipments in the PC space. Again, to be able to reinvent and revitalize that brand, have done just an awesome array of marketing communications work for Apple. Everything from design work to merchandising, packaging work, trade show work, a lot of strategy consulting work and how to differentiate the Apple brand. We're working with them on the website right now, though they're still doing it internally, but I think eventually we'll be able to secure that work from them. Again, coming back to the Disney example, doing all the print advertising for the launch of the very powerful Go network, go.com, for Clint Eastwood's new beer. In the environmental and retail design out of the New York operation for American Girl, this is a very high-end brand, and we've done all of the in-store and environmental design work. If you go down to the Chicago Showcase area, a very truly rich experience. Again, all that work was built and developed by USWebCKS. And finally, in the electronic services area, NBC came to US Web Corporation and said, we want to outsource all of our interactive work. So any consumer today going to NBC.com, Jay Leno site, Conan O'Brien site, that's actual content, program management. We actually host and run that site for NBC in our electronic services practice. So to close, I typically like to stress several core points. Number one is we create the most innovative ideas for our clients. And again, I think that we do great design work, we do great technology engineering work, but at the core of our value proposition is the innovative ideas that we can come up with for our clients. How do we help them leapfrog their clients? How do we come up with very impactful ideas that will, again, help their business succeed? We're the only company with world-class marketing communications and world-class internet technology expertise. Again, bottom line here is that no other company has more expertise and experience than USWebCKS. And I think that the core point that I typically like to end on is this relentless pursuit to achieve success and deliver results. And I end every client presentation by saying that I'm willing to put my reputation and our business and our brand's reputation on the line that at the end of the day, you can count on USWebCKS to deliver the results and the solutions for you. So anyway, this went on much longer than I thought. Hopefully this has been helpful to you to pick and pull the parts that make sense based on the client presentation that you're doing. As I said earlier in the presentation, we'll be honing this down into a more digestible format as the rest of the marketing tools and programs, some collateral material, more white papers and presentations as we begin to help train you on the value proposition of the company. Thanks for watching.